For the longest time, I've been really interested in the hacking simulator genre. I've played through games like Hacking Simulator 16, Dark Signs Online, Hacknet, and a couple other games that never really took off. Besides being a nerdy outlet for a cybersecurity student like myself, these games have always drawn me in with their sandboxing environments and attention to detail. These games had their own scripting languages, online communities that would build websites and missions for the game, and a level of realism that made me feel like I was an actual hacker. When I saw Hack Me come out of early access, I was obviously interested. I caught on early enough that the game wasn't multiplayer, and I wasn't really that worried. Still, I hoped for an experience that would grant me a bit of fun, and one that shifted a focus away from the multiplayer aspect that ended up killing a lot of these games. While many of these games had a multiplayer experience where you could never really interact with another player if you really didn't want to, their entire foundation relied on an internet connection to their game server. Once that server disappeared, so did the game. When I loaded up the single player Hack Me, I was hoping for a solid game that really wouldn't require an internet connection. However, I found an empty shell of a game trying to emulate the essence of that genre. The first place that Hack Me fell flat was the interface. Most games in the genre at least attempt to mimic an actual computer. Even if it's not a one-to-one representation, it's still believable enough in the general gameplay of the game that you're using an actual computer. It's like a flight simulator. Even if you can't interact with every single switch and gauge that might be available to an actual pilot, in your suspended disbelief it feels like you're actually flying an airplane. Even with the bar set pretty low, Hack Me still couldn't create a game world that was really believable. First of all, the windows were completely static and couldn't be moved at all. It wasn't that rough to work around, but there were points where it would have been extremely helpful if I could just have two things open at the same time and I could read both of them. It seemed like such a little fix, and I don't know why it's not in the game. It's one of those minor flaws that make you realize you're actually playing a game instead of being in some other world. To make it worse, there's a really annoying bug in the first mission where I had to open a file explorer to get to a text file. I wanted to read the stuff from the text file and look at a window I had open before, but the file explorer was in the way. When I tried to close it, and since I can't move the windows around to make room, the game closed both the file explorer and the text editor. Again, something really minor, but it was noticeable enough that it took me out of my immersion. However, there was a bunch of other little issues like this that just made the game a little irritating to play, which further ruined any immersion that I had. For me, one of the most important parts of a hacking game is the ability to feel more like a simulation than a game. I want to feel like I'm actually taking servers down, draining banks accounts, and hacking people. However, when these games make minor but consistent flaws, it makes me realize I'm just playing a game. And in Hack Me's case, a poorly designed Flash program pretending to be a game. To be honest, Hack Me's story is super simple and makes very little sense. So you start out being trained by your partner Helen, or Elena as said in every other piece of dialogue after the first mission. She starts you off with a simple hack, draining the bank account of some random person. You do this using the traditional terminal that most games in the genre use, which is never used again in the rest of the game. Well, you forget to delete your log files, she tries to do something fast, and you end up spending the next 2 years on the run from the law, and you don't hear from her again. So you emerge from hiding to find out your name has been put into a hacker database by some hacker that needs to go on a run for a bit for whatever reason. He says that the task will be sent to your super secret Gmail account, and that he's made a programming language for complete anonymity, or however you pronounce it. At this point, we have to ask ourselves a couple of questions. First, is CNN writing the story? Seriously, a hacker database? A programming language that is designed to be completely anonymous? What kind of magic is it running on? Seriously, to somebody that's been programming for a couple years and knows a little bit about computers, this makes absolutely no sense. A programming being anonymous isn't a thing. Petty arguments aside, the email in itself has been bothering me since I first came across it. Who sent it? The sender calls you their student, which implies it's Elena, but it says contact with her has stopped. Even if it is her coming back, what has she done in this short amount of time that requires her to go right back into hiding? It really doesn't seem like it's Elena, but who else could it be? Is it just some other random that decided to take you under their wing right after you almost got yourself arrested? This message marks the beginning of what I guess I'd call the second act, which is mainly you doing random hacking jobs. Most of this is done by typing URLs into the same two programs over and over again, which gets really boring really fast. You get paid $1,000 by some guy trying to get 1,000 points in some Clash of Clans knockoff. Wait, what kind of economy is this game set in? Are we saying this guy has 12,500 US dollars of in-game cash in his account? What? Then you hack a game company's Wi-Fi to send a list of features to a rival developer, because apparently it's not really that weird to sit in a company's lobby all day and hack their Wi-Fi. Like, nobody's going to question a random guy typing away on his laptop in the lobby all day. You get in, but you realize you have to get a virus into the company, which your partner does. Wait, who's your partner? The random person that was helping you before was on the run. Elena hasn't contacted you. Who's your partner now? Whoever it is basically completes the rest of the mission for you, and you go on your way. After this mission, your contact with people gets moved to a chat client for some reason, which also has the context of spoilers, literally everyone else you'll talk to in the game. Even the people that reach out to you are in your contacts already. The next couple of missions aren't really interesting because they're just random and they really don't contribute to anything. You eventually do some work for somebody that works for Microsoft, and you easily convince him to give you a vulnerability to his company in exchange for information about his son. This dude must not really care about his job or his status as not currently being in prison, because he makes absolutely no effort to negotiate a more favorable agreement. He asks you for your help, you tell him to give you the vulnerability, and he basically says okay and willingly hands it over as soon as the mission is over. Even if my son was missing, I would at least try to weasel my way out of giving somebody that could land me in multi-million-dollar lawsuit and in prison. But this guy doesn't care, so you walk away from your mission with the fate of a multi-billion-dollar company in your hands. Right when you get it, Elena comes back and tells you to practice your DDoSing skills, and you tell her, I shit you not, that you're waiting for a software actually writing a virus, which is the closest thing to cryptography that this game will introduce you to. Well, you write the software and play a game while the botnet collects computers, and then you get some DDoS practice by having Elena carry out the whole attack and you just collect the money. Then Microsoft figures out that they've been attacked and that you were behind it, so they retaliate by sending the FBI to your house, kidnapping Elena and demanding a ransom. Wait, if they know who you are and they can actually physically kidnap Elena, then why don't they just send her over to the feds and have them get information from her to get to you? What company goes, oh wow, they really hacked us good, let's get back at them by kidnapping one of their members? Seriously. You need a small loan of $1 million, so you reach out to one of your friends that just throws you a super easy contract that pays out $1 million as if it were nothing. You do the contract really quick and the company that you're targeting gives you $2.5 million just to go away, and you take it and send Microsoft all of it. I don't know why you'd pay over on a ransom, like what if they demanded more? Well, you give them all of your money and they release Elena, who is so grateful that she never wants to talk to you again. In all, the story really wasn't that gripping, but it seems like they made an attempt. I was hoping for something above a high school drama class group project, but I guess it could be worse. A lot of the elements in the story weren't really fleshed out and they didn't really make sense, which just left me confused and desiring more. I appreciated the bits of humor that they tried to fit in the game, but the rest of the writing wasn't strong enough for me to really call the story good. If it were part of a larger game, I probably wouldn't spend so much time covering it, but the story in this context is the entire game. With that being said, I really can't say this game is good. Honestly, it's pretty bad. The interface of the game was built extremely poor, which takes that level of immersion that other games in the genre have completely away. There's elements that they show off that make it look like there's a lot more to the game, but honestly, it's just a cruel tease of what the game could have been. While I can't really knock the game for being only single player, and have to give it at least some credit for trying something different, I have to criticize the story for being poorly written. Seriously, if you're going to make a game with a single player focus, you better have some gameplay and story to make it worthwhile. In all, I really wouldn't recommend Hack Me to anybody that's into the hacking simulator genre. If you're looking for a good hacking game, I'd recommend something like Hacknet if it's still alive. Also, if you're a fan of this game, don't worry, the developers of this game have already begun working on Hack Me 2, which is slated to come out next month. It seems like they're trying to make a game a little bit more functional and interesting, but it's also a green light game, so who knows how well that will turn out. Hopefully the developers can take the criticism of this game and work things out instead of filling up green light with random shovelware. I'll keep my fingers crossed and we'll probably be releasing a video about it when it comes out, so stay tuned. So that's all I really have to say about this game. If you want to see some other reviews that I've done, go ahead and check out my channel. I typically go for longer format reviews, and I'm going to start putting up some videos that talk more about the market and game theory as a whole instead of specific games. If that interests you at all, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you thought this review was good, hit that like button and tell me what you like about it. If you have a problem with something, let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking at what I can do to improve in the future. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.